Okay, so good day, class. So for today's discussion, we will discuss individual differences, but let's have take a look first to what we discussed last week. Last week we discussed the different theories of learning that falls under cognitivism, and that includes the constructivist theory ni Brunner, yung Gestalt theory, yung subsumption theory ni Ausubel, as well as yung information processing theory. So for today's video, again, we will discuss individual differences and we will integrate or we will incorporate some theories on individual differences as well as yung learning style sa ating teaching and learning process o sa ating classroom instruction. Okay? So before we proceed to our formal discussion, I just have some questions for the class, and you can type in your comment in the comment box below, and then screenshot your comment, and then attach it doon sa ating classwork sa Google Classroom. Okay. So the first question is, what kind of book would you like to read for fun? Is it a book with lots of pictures in it? Is it a book with lots of words in it? Or is it a book with word searches or crossword puzzle? Okay, so type in your answer and then screenshot. And then later on, mamaya i-attach natin doon sa activity natin sa Google Classroom. Okay, so my next question is, when you are not sure how to spell a word, what are you most likely to do? Is it you write it down to see if it looks like right, or you spell it out loud to see if it sounds right, or you trace the letters in the air, like for example, yung finger spelling. Okay, sige, type in your answer. Okay, so as you may have seen, no, you have different choices or you have different answers because you have different styles of learning. Yung iba sa inyo, pinili doon sa first question ko kung ano yung kind of book that you would like to read. Yung iba sa inyo gusto yung mga books na may picture, yung iba naman words lang, gusto naman yung iba may mga challenges like crosswords puzzle. Okay, yung iba naman, kapag nag-i-spell ng word, yung iba nire-write down, yung iba ini-spell out loud, yung iba naman nagfi-finger spelling. So you have a different answer because again, you have different styles of learnings. And today, no, we will discover the different learning styles of our learners and even you as higher education learners. We will also discuss the different learning styles by Kolb as well as yung multiple intelligences proposed by Gardner. So for our today's discussion objectives, of course, first we will distinguish the different learning styles, the different styles of learning. We will also identify the factors that bring diversity to the classroom. Again, when we talk about the styles of learning, we will talk about the different learning styles put forward by Kolb as well as yung different multiple intelligences na pinut forward ni Howard Gardner. Okay? Okay, but before we proceed, no, let us first define what is learning style. So as you can see, Kiev and Monk in 1986 view learning styles as the characteristic, cognitive, affective, and psychological behavior that serve as relatively stable indicators of how learners perceive, interact with, respond to the learning environment. And this was also cited in creating an enhanced learning in 2001. So in simpler terms, no class, learning style refers to the preferred ways in which individuals approach learning tasks, no, process information, and adapt to educational settings. So this preference class, this can include how someone prefers to receive information, like for example, visually, auditory, kinesthetic, no, together with their emotional reaction to learning situation and with their overall psychological tendencies when engaging with the new material or with the new topic. Okay? Another definition of learning style is that according to Dunn and Dunn in 2001, no, they define learning style as the way in which the learner begins to concentrate, process, and retain new and difficult information. So, in simpler terms, this definition highlights how individuals approach the learning process from the moment they encounter new or difficult information, no, and it encompasses how they focus their attention, the methods they use to understand and make sense of the material, and how they commit it to their memory for the recalling process. So this definition, class, no, it emphasizes the dynamic nature of the learning styles, as because it recognizes that individuals may have distinct preferences, individuals may have distinct strategies for engaging with different types of information, as well as with the different types of learning tasks. Okay. Another definition is that learning style was considered as a predisposition on the part of some learners to adapt to a particular learning strategy regardless of the specific demands of the learning task. So in essence, no, class, this definition suggests that certain learners may gravitate towards a particular approach to learning regardless of whether it is the most effective or appropriate method for a given situation. So this predisposition can manifest in various ways, such as preference for visual learning, auditory learning, hands-on learning, or hands-on activities, or other strategies. Okay. Okay, so overall, learning style is best defined as an approach to studying, understanding, and eventually learning a new material. Okay, so individual differences in learning style can be explained also by hereditary, which is yung intellectual level. It can also be explained by upbringing or the child rearing and environmental demands or yung mga different lessons in school. So this definition, no, class, of the learning style, it highlights as an approach wherein the individuals take when studying, comprehending, understanding, and ultimately mastering a particular material. And it suggests, no, class, that learning style encompasses the methods, strategies, and preferences each individuals may employ throughout the learning process. Okay? So this statement also emphasizes that individual differences in learning style can be attributed to the, again, various factors. Pag sinabi nating hereditary or intellectual level, these are the genetic factors that can influence intellectual capabilities, which in turn may shape how individuals approach learning. No? Some people may naturally excel in certain areas or have predisposition towards specific learning methods due to their genetic makeup. Okay? The next factor is yung upbringing or yung child rearing. Okay? So the environment in which individuals are raised, okay, yung environment including their family, yung dynamics ng family, yung cultural background, and early educational experiences, it can all significantly impact the child's learning styles. For example, yung mga children na na-raise in environments that prioritize hands-on learning, they may develop a preference for experiential learning methods. Okay? So the third factor is yung environmental demands, which is yung about dun sa mga school, different lessons in the school. So the learning environment, no, including the educational system, teaching methods, and curriculum demands, it plays a crucial role in shaping individuals' learning styles. So different educational settings may require different approaches to learning and that may also influence how yung mga learners natin may perceive and process information. Okay? An example of this, yung different educational setting, yung for example, yung learning that is taking place in the private institution as well as in the public institution. Of course, magkaiba yung kanilang educational setting and no, magkaiba rin yung approaches na kay gagamitin para mapatuto yung mga bata. And this may how influence no yung kung paano mapaperceive and mapaprocess ng mga learners yung mga material or information. So overall, no, class, uh, the study of learning style. This learning style, no, it aims to understand how our learners may perceive, process, or retain information. So by examining these individual differences, no, as educator, we can gain insights in the most effective teaching methods and instructional approaches para sa magkakaibang learners natin, for our diverse learners. So, kasi 'di ba, this understanding, kapag nalaman na natin yung mga insights, kung ano ba yung most effective teaching methods na pwede nating gamitin sa or instructional approaches sa magkakaibang uri ng learner na meron tayo. Okay, this can lead to the development of a more specified strategies that can cater to the unique needs and preferences of individuals. Okay, yung mga unique needs and preferences ng mga learners natin, di ba? So that makatulong tayo sa kanila in enhancing the learning experience and academic outcomes. Okay? Okay, class. So let's talk about the nature of the learning style as outlined in the overview of the learning style in 2008, and it can be summarized by the following points. So number one, each person prefers different learning styles and unique. So makikita natin yung individual preference ng ating mga learner. Okay? So, each individual kasi or each learner tends to have their own preferences when it comes to learning styles and techniques, okay? This means that what works well for one learner may not be as effective for the another learner, okay? That's letter A. The second one is learning styles group common ways that people learn, okay? So as we can see in here, there's a common pattern, like learning styles categorize the typical or common ways in which people tend to learn. So these categories, it helps in identifying patterns in how individual process and retain information. Okay? So letter C, sabi dyan, everyone has a mix of learning styles. Okay? Pag sinabi nating mix of learning style it is just a mix of styles. Kasi 'di ba, while yung learners natin may have preferences for certain learning styles, it's common for them to possess a combination of different styles. So this implies that learners may utilize various approaches depending on the learning task or context. Okay? Sa letter D naman, sulat dyan, one may use different styles in different circumstances. Okay? And that is adaptability. Okay? So our learner may employ kasi different learning styles based on the circumstances they find themselves in. For example, di ba? Someone might prefer a visual learning style for understanding a complex diagram, no? But when it is switched to a verbal learning style, no, medyo nahihirapan na siyang mag-memorize ng facts. Okay? Diyan sa letter E naman ang sabi yan, there is no right mix of learning style, nor there is a fixed learning style. Okay? And ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is flexibility. So, there's no predetermined or ideal mix of learning styles kasi yung mga learners natin, they are diverse, no? Magkakaiba sila. Okay? And again, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, no, class, what works best for one learner may not be the same for another learner. Okay? So as we can see, learning styles can evolve over time as individuals gain new experiences and encounter different learning environments. Okay? And the last one is there is no best learning style nor is there bad learning style. So ibig sabihin parang there is no superiority. No, like there's no universally superior or inferior learning style. Okay? Again, there is no universally superior or inferior learning style. For example, ako visual learner ako, hindi ako mas magaling kaysa dun sa auditory learner o dun sa kinesthetic learner. Kasi each style class has its strengths and weaknesses, and what matters most is finding the approach that is most effective for the individual learner and the specific learning task at hand. Okay? So, understanding kasi these aspects of learning style is crucial for us bilang mga future teacher, for you pala bilang mga future teacher as well as with our learners because it emphasizes the importance of recognizing and respecting individual differences in how people learn, and it also underscores the need for flexibility and adaptability in teaching methods and instructional approaches. Okay? Okay, class. So let's talk about the fluid nature of the learning style. So the terms concrete perceivers and abstract perceivers describe two distinct approaches in individuals use to absorb and process information. Pag-usapan natin yung concrete perceiver. Pag sinabi natin concrete perceiver, no, they are primarily relies on direct experiences to absorb information. Like they learn best by engaging in hands-on activities, no, actively doing things and utilizing their senses to interact with their environment. So these are the individuals who prefer to learn through direct involvement and action. They are likely to excel in situations where they can touch, see, hear, and feel the subject matter, no? And this concrete perceiver, they place importance on sensory input such as tactile sensation, no, visual observation, as well as yung mga emotional responses. And they can learn effectively when they can engage their senses in the learning process. And that is a concrete perceiver. Okay? On the other way around, no, pag sinabi nating abstract perceivers, no, abstract perceivers class, no, they process information through analysis, observation, and abstract thinking. Like they can excel in understanding complex concepts and ideas through mental reflection and contemplation. So these learners, yung mga abstract perceivers, no, they tend to take a more analytical approach to learning, and they enjoy dissecting information, they enjoy identifying patterns, and they enjoy making logical connections between concepts. Okay? And itong mga abstract perceivers, they often prefer to think deeply about concepts and ideas before forming conclusions. So they may spend time reflecting on information and exploring different perspectives before fully understanding a topic. Okay? So that is concrete versus abstract perceivers. Okay, now let's talk about the active versus reflective processors. Okay, so the terms active processors and reflective processors, this describe two different approaches learners use to make sense of new information and experiences. So the first one is the active processor. So active processors engage with new information by immediately using it in some way, like they prefer to apply what they have learned in practical situation, no, they make decision based on it, or they integrate it into their ongoing activities. Okay, so these learners, yung mga active processors learners natin, they thrive in situation where they can actively participate and take initiative. So they prefer to learn by doing and experimenting rather than passively observing or reflecting. Okay? And yung mga active processor learners din natin, they are inclined to take immediate action based on the information they receive. So they may seek out opportunities to apply their knowledge and skills in real world context to enhance their understanding. Okay? Whereas kapag naman sinabi nating reflective processors, no, yung mga learners natin who considered themselves as reflective processors, no, they prefer to make sense of new information by reflecting on it and thinking deeply about its implication. They take the time to carefully consider the information before forming a conclusion or making decisions, no? So these learners tend to be more introspective and thoughtful in their learning style, no, class, because they may spend time pondering the meaning and significance of what they have learned, no, because they are trying to seek to understand from multiple perspectives. Okay. Another thing that we should remember in reflective processors is that ang mga learners na reflective processors, no, they recognize the importance of reflection in the learning process. So they may engage in activities such as journaling, discussion, or meditation, no, to help them process and internalize new information. Okay? Okay, so the question now, class, is how does the study of learning styles impact on education? Okay, so we must not only focus on the traditional skills of analysis, reasoning, and problem solving, no? Kasi we should also allow opportunity for intuition, feeling, sensing, and imagination kapag yung mga students natin, no, are confronted with instructional material, for example. Okay? Another thing, bakit ba mahalaga na pag-aralan natin yung different learning styles na ito? Because yung mga teaching methods na gagamitin natin should be in such a way that we can connect to the identified learning styles using various combinations of experience, reflection, conceptualization, and experimentation. Okay? Kasi yung wide variety of experiential elements into the classroom such as music, visuals, yung mga movements, experience, this should be introduced in the classroom because this will ensure a higher chance of addressing all the learning styles of our students. Okay? Another thing is that we should also develop and possess a good feeling and knowledge of the learning styles of our students so that we could better guide them on the best or most effective ways of responding to and dealing with the learning materials, okay? Because this will enable our students to have a better control of their own learning, okay? Okay, now class, let's talk about the BARC model of learning. This BARC model of learning was developed by Neil Fleming, and it is actually a framework that categorizes our learners into four primary learning styles based on their preferred mode of receiving and processing information. So the first one is visual, then the next one is auditory, kinesthetic, and then reading and writing. Okay, so here is an overview of the VARC model. Okay, so V is for the visual learners. Okay, so visual learners, yung mga visual learners natin, they prefer to receive information through visual stimuli such as diagrams, no, charts, graphs, and written text, no. So typically, they have a strong ability to interpret and remember information presented in visual formats. Okay? And A stands for auditory learners. So auditory learners class learn best through listening and speaking, no? So these learners prefer verbal explanations, lectures, and discussion as well as yung mga audio recordings, no? They have a knack of retaining information that they hear and can often benefit from repeating information aloud or engaging in group discussion. Okay? Next, the third one is read and write learners, no? And yung mga read and write learners natin, they excel in learning through written language and they prefer to read and write information in text formats such as textbooks, articles, notes, and other written instruction. And they are skilled at processing written information, and they may also benefit from creating written summaries or articles or even outlines. Okay? And the last one is K, that stands for kinesthetic learners. So kinesthetic learners, they learn best through hands-on experiences and physical activities, no? And they prefer to engage in activities that involve movement, no, touching, manipulation of objects, and they learn by doing and benefit from interactive experiences like yung mga experiments, simulation, and practical application. Okay? So, yung VARC model na ito ni Neil Fleming, no, it recognizes that individuals may have preferences for one or more these one or more of these learning styles, and that their preferences may vary depending on the context and the material being learned. Okay? Kasi si Fleming, he suggests that by understanding their preferred learning styles, yung mga learners natin, they can better tailor their study strategies and learning experiences para ma-maximize yung kanilang effectiveness. Okay? So overall, no, class, as you can see, yung VART model na ito, it provides a useful, uh, framework for understanding and accommodating the diverse learning preferences of our learners. Okay? Okay, so now class, let's move on to the model of learning style based on a theory called experiential learning theory. And this was proposed by David Kolb in 1984. So according to Kolb, no class, learning is a cyclic process that involves four stages, and each stages is associated with the preferred learning style. So here are the four learning styles in Kolb's model. So the first one is through concrete experiences, like putting learned material into practice, and then the next one is through reflective observation, like analyzing objectively the outcome, okay, of the teaching and learning process, and then through abstract conceptualization and generalization, like for example reviewing conceptual understanding, and then the last one is yung through active experimentation, like uh, the learners will do experimenting method to find solution to a particular problem. Okay, so now class, let's move on to the model of learning style based on a theory called experiential learning theory. And this was proposed by David Kolb in 1984. So according to Kolb, no class, learning is a cyclic process that involves four stages, and each stages is associated with the preferred learning style. So here are the four learning styles in Kolb's model. So the first one is through concrete experiences, like putting learned material into practice, and then the next one is through reflective observation, like analyzing objectively the outcome, okay, of the teaching and learning process, and then through abstract conceptualization and generalization, like for example reviewing conceptual understanding, and then the last one is yung through active experimentation, like uh, the learners will do experimenting method to find solution to a particular problem. Okay, class. So to continue our discussion into Kolb's learning styles. So the first one is diverging, which is feeling and watching, no? So yung mga learners natin with diverging learning styles, they are good at viewing situations from different perspectives, and they prefer to watch rather than do, no? Kaya nga watching, no? And they excel at brainstorming ideas and generating creative solutions. So they tend to be imaginative, and they are also sensitive to the emotion of the others. Okay? The second one is assimilating, which is yung watching and thinking. Okay? So yung mga learners natin with assimilating learning style, no, they prefer to think and analyze information systematically because they are good at creating theoretical models and frameworks, and they also enjoy organizing and synthesizing information. So they typically prefer to observe rather than actively participate. Okay, again, they typically prefer to observe rather than to actively participate. Okay. Okay, so the third one class is converging, which is yung doing and thinking. So converging learners no class, they are practical, and they prefer to solve problems using logic and analysis. Like they are hands-on on learning, who enjoy experimenting with new ideas and applying theoretical concepts to real-world situations. Like they excel in technical fields, and they are also skilled at finding practical solution to a specific complex problem. Okay, and that is converging or doing and thinking. And then the last one is accommodating, which is yung doing and feeling. Like, yung mga learners natin with an accommodating learning style, they prefer to learn through hands-on experience and experimentation. They are action-oriented and they enjoy actively engaging with tasks and experiences, and they are also comfortable, no, class? They are also comfortable with uncertainty, and they are also willing to take risks to explore new ideas and opportunities. Okay? And that is accommodating. Okay? So, yung mga learning styles na to, yung apat na yan, no? The first one is diverging, the second one is assimilating, third one is converging, and then accommodating. No? These are part of a cyclical process where individuals engage in concrete experiences, reflect on those experiences, conceptualizing on new ideas, and then actively experiment to test those ideas. So by understanding yung preferred learning style ng ating mga learners, no, they can by themselves, no, better tailor their learning experiences to optimize their learning outcomes. Okay? Okay, so now class, let's talk about Multiple Intelligences by Howard Gardner. So born in July 1943, okay, si Howard Gardner ay isa siyang development psychologist, and he has twice been selected by Foreign Policy and Prospect magazines as one of the 100 most influential public intellectuals in the world, okay? And na-publish niya yung Frames of Mind, which is the theory of multiple intelligences in 1983, wherein he identified nine intelligences. Okay? So, ang theory na to, which is yung multiple intelligence, it differentiates human intelligence into specific modalities rather than seeing intelligence as dominated by a single general ability. Okay? Okay, so balikan lang natin itong pinresent ko sa inyo nung week 2, di ba? Sabi natin, everybody is a genius, but if we judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that the said fish is stupid. So, ibig sabihin, we have our own strengths, we have our own intelligence, and we have our own ways to discover yung strength and intelligence na ito. And let's try to find out kung ano bang intelligence yung mayroon or present sa atin, okay, as individual. Okay, so si Howard Gardner, yung kanyang theory of multiple intelligence, it's actually a psychological framework that suggests that there are several different types of intelligence. Okay, and again, rather than a single general intelligence factor. Okay, so si Gardner, he initially identified 7 intelligences and later nag-add siya. Okay, 7 lang nung una and then nag-add siya kaya ngayon naging 9 na. So, here are the intelligences according to Howard Gardner. So the first one is visual spatial intelligence. So this is the ability to perceive the visual spatial world accurately, to perform transformation and modification upon initial perception, and to be able to recreate aspects of one's visual experiences. So if you are good at visualizing things, okay, if you are often good with direction as well as yung pagbabasa ng maps, charts, videos, and pictures, you have this intelligence, which is yung visual spatial intelligence. Okay, so what are the characteristics, no, class, kapag sinabi mong visual spatial intelligent ka as a person? So you enjoy reading and writing, no? You are good at putting puzzles together, no? Mahaba yung patience mo doon. You are also good at interpreting pictures, graphs, and even yung charts. Okay? So kapag ganito yung mga characteristic mo, visually and spatially intelligent ka. Okay? Okay, so another characteristic, no, is that you enjoy drawing, painting, yung mga visual arts, okay? And you can easily recognize patterns, no? Walang kahirap-hirap na parang yung mga pagbuo ng mga rubrics, no? Visual spatial intelligence yon. Okay? Okay. So, ano ba yung mga potential career choices kapag visual, spatial intelligent ka? Okay. So, pwede kang architect, artist, yung mga painter, yung mga visual artist, no? Pwede ka rin engineer, and even cartographer. Class, by the way, no, pag sinabi natin cartographer, this is a person who creates maps. Okay? Okay, so the next one is linguistic intelligence or linguistic verbal intelligence. So this involves sensitivity to spoken and written language, or yung ability to learn languages and the capacity to use language to accomplish certain goals. Okay? So kapag linguistic verbal intelligence, you are able to use words well, both in writing and speaking. And these individuals, no class, are typically very good at writing stories, memorizing information, and even mahaba yung patience niya doon sa kanyang reading habit. Okay? Okay, so what are the characteristics? Kapag linguistic verbal intelligent ka, you are good at remembering written and spoken information, no? And you enjoy very, very much yung reading and writing. Another characteristic class is kapag you are very good on debating or giving persuasive speeches. Like for example, kahit hindi ka ready or prepared, pinag-speech ka, but you can deliver your speech nicely, no? Clearly, okay, and very informatively, no? Another thing is that you're able to explain things well, and then you often uses humor when you are telling stories, okay? Okay, so potential career choices kapag linguistic verbal intelligent ka is that pwede kang writer, journalist, no? You could also be a lawyer, a teacher, katulad natin, or even a stand-up comedian, okay? Okay, so the third one class is existential intelligence, and again, this is one of the types of intelligence from Gardner's theory, and this is the kind of intelligence of big picture thinking, no? So, yung existential intelligence, actually, it is a definition of the capacity or the ability of an individual to understand and contemplate philosophical topics relating to human existence, no? Like, katulad na nakita natin sa screen, sabi dyan, no? Sensitivity to capacity to tackle deep questions about human existence, such as the meaning of life, no? Like, why do we die, and how did we get here? Something like that. Okay, so what are the characteristics of existential intelligence? The first one is reflective and deep thinking, no? Second one is design abstract theory. The third one is the ability to use metacognition to explore the unknown, di ba? Parang sila yung mga deep thinkers, sila yung nagdidig deeper ng mga knowledge, yung laging may mga questions of why and how, no? Sila yung mga may intelligence na ganito. Okay, so another thing is that they thrive on intellectual debate, and they are not afraid to challenge the norm. Okay, they also desire to be an outsider, while at the same time showing a strong interest in the society. Okay, kasi nga lagi nilang kina-question yung meaning of life, yung human existence, and that is from the word self, existential intelligence. Okay, so what are the potential career choices kapag existential intelligent person ka? Okay, the first one is could be a scientist. You could also be a philosopher. Okay, mga philosopher natin, consultant, and even a pastor or theologian. Okay? Okay, so the fourth one class is logical mathematical. Okay, so this logical mathematical intelligence, this actually pertains to the ability to think logically and solve mathematical problems. Like it involves skills such as reasoning, deduction, and the ability to analyze problems systematically, of course. Okay, so as we can see, kapag ang learners natin ay logical, mathematically intelligent, they are good at reasoning, they can recognize patterns, and they can logically analyze problems, and they tend to think conceptually about numbers, relationship, and even patterns. Okay? Okay, so what are the characteristics of a logical mathematical person? Okay, the first one is they enjoy thinking about abstract ideas, no? They prefer to conduct scientific experiment and discovery and even exploration, and they are also good at solving complex computations. Okay? Okay, so what are the potential career choices kapag logical, mathematical, intelligent ka? You could be a scientist, a political analyst, you could also be a detective, investigator, and even managers. Okay? So the fifth one class is what we call musical intelligence. Okay? So from the word itself, musical intelligence involves skills in the performance, composition, and appreciation of musical patterns. Like it encompasses the capacity to recognize and compose musical pitches, tones, and even rhythms. Okay? So kapag musically intelligent person ka, you are good at thinking in patterns, rhythms, and sounds, no? And you have a strong appreciation for music, and you are often good at musical compositions and even in musical performance. Okay? So what are the characteristics of a musically intelligent person? Of course, the first one, you enjoy singing and playing musical instruments. You also recognize musical patterns and tones easily. Naunawaan natin yung pagbasa ng mga nota. You are good also at remembering songs and melodies, no? Nasa tono. And meron kang rich understanding of musical structure, rhythm, and even notes. At ito yung intelligent na masasabi ko talaga na walang-wala ako. Okay, so what are the potential career choices kapag musically intelligent person ka? Of course, musician, composer, singer, no? Even a music teacher or a voice coach. Okay? Okay, so the sixth one is the bodily kinesthetic intelligence, and this intelligence involves the ability to use your body effectively to solve problems, to express yourself, and even to engage in activities that requires physical skills and physical coordination. Okay? So as you can see, kapag bodily kinesthetic intelligent person ka, you are good at body movement, you can perform actions and physical control, no? They are also the people who are strong in this area, no? Kaya nagiging excellent sila sa hand-eye coordination, no? Kasi sila yung mga person or individual na may ability to use their body effectively to solve, for example, problems and even express themselves and engage in activities that requires yung mga physical skills and even yung mga coordination ng hand and eye and feet, no? Okay. Okay, so characteristics ng bodily kinesthetic intelligent person, of course, you are good at dancing and even in sports, no? You also enjoy creating things with your hands, no? You are excellent at physical coordination and you tend also to remember by doing rather than hearing or seeing. Okay, kaya nga tinawag natin bodily kinesthetic. Okay? Okay, potential career choices kapag bodily kinesthetic ka, dancer, mechanic, sculptor, actor, or actress. Okay? Okay, next is interpersonal intelligence. And interpersonal intelligence class is the ability to understand and interact effectively with others. Kasi it involves being able to perceive and understand the emotions, yung intentions, motivation, and desires of the other people or of the people around you. Okay? So you are good at understanding and interacting with other people, no? And you are skilled, very skilled in assessing the emotions, motivations, desire, and intentions of the people around you. Okay? So parang sensitive ka not only doon sa sarili mong emotions and intentions and even yung desires, pati doon sa emotions, motivation, and desire ng mga tao sa paligid mo. Okay? Okay. Ano mga characteristics kapag interpersonal intelligent person ka? Of course, you are good at communicating verbally. You are also skilled at nonverbal communication. Okay? You also see situation from different perspectives, hindi yung laging ikaw. Okay? You also create positive relationship with others. Pag sinabi natin positive relationship, harmonious, di ba? Hindi yung, for example, marami kang ka-conflict with your colleagues or the people around you, no? And even you are also good at resolving conflict in group. So kapag ikaw yung tagapagbate sa inyong grupo, like magsasabi sa ng problema si colleague A as well as si ng same problem si colleague B. For example, may dispute sila or may conflict sila, then kung ikaw yung nakakatulong sa kanila to resolve some issues within a group, okay, within your circle of friends, then interpersonal yung intelligence na meron ka. Okay, so ano yung mga potential career, no? Pag interpersonal intelligent person ka. Okay, the first one is counselor, guidance counselor. Pwede ka ring salesperson, okay? Pwede ka ring politician, and even psychologist, okay? Okay, so the next one, kung kanina interpersonal intelligence, this one is intrapersonal intelligence, and this refers to your ability to understand yourself, to appreciate your feelings, to appreciate your fears and your own motivation. And this involves having an accurate self-image, no class, and understanding of your own strengths and weaknesses. So in here, you are good at being aware of your own emotional states, feelings, and motivations. Okay. And you tend to enjoy self-reflection and analysis. And you also can assess your own personal strength and weaknesses. Okay? So, characteristics ng intrapersonal intelligent person, you're good at analyzing your strengths and weaknesses, gaya ng sinabi ko kanina. You enjoy analyzing theories and ideas by your own self. You are excellent in self-awareness, and you clearly understand the basis for your own motivation and feeling. Basta palaging pagtungkol sa sarili, that is intrapersonal. Okay? Kapag kino-consider mo yung feelings and perspectives ng others, no, like kaya mong makihalubilo in the different kinds of person with the different kinds of personalities and characteristics, that is interpersonal. Okay? Okay, so possible potential or potential career choices kapag intrapersonal intelligent person ka. Pwede kang entrepreneur, pwede kang philosopher, pwede kang writer, or pwede kang jurist. Okay? Okay, and the last one is naturalistic intelligence. Okay, and this is the ability to recognize, categorize, and draw upon a certain feature of the environment. Like it involves understanding and interacting with the natural world, including yung mga plants, animals, and ecosystem or ecological system, and even yung mga natural world in our environment. Okay, parang in here, more in tune ka with the nature and you often interested in nurturing, exploring the environment and learning about other species of plants, animals, something like that. Okay, kapag naturalistic, intelligent person ka, yung mga characteristics mo is of course, you enjoy camping, gardening, plantito-plantita, like lahat ng characteristics ng ng plants, meron ka. You also enjoy hiking and even exploring outdoor activities. Okay? At hindi mo na-enjoy yung mga learning unfamiliar topics that have no connection to nature. Okay? Like, most love topics mo madalas kapag ikaw ay naturalistic intelligent person is about nature, okay? Is about plants, animals, no, mga ecological systems. Have something na that matters to ecological systems. Okay? Okay, so potential career choices kapag naturalistic intelligent person ka, of course, biologist, conservationist, veterinarian, no, farmer, plantito, plantita, something like that. Okay, so as you can see no class, each learner may possess a unique combination of this intelligence. Pwedeng dalawa, pwedeng tatlo, pwedeng apat. Depende lang sa degree of strength ng bawat intelligence na meron tayo. Okay? And si Gardner no class, he suggested that traditional measures of intelligence, for example, yung mga IQ test, no? Kasi pag IQ test, ang nakaka-capture lang nito is a narrow range of our learners' abilities. Okay? Kaya yung intelligence, it should be understood in a broader and more diverse ways. Kaya niya nga na-develop itong 9 types of or 9 multiple intelligence. Okay? So here is an example of how multiple intelligences can be integrated into, for example, kapag English major ka. Okay? So, for example, ang objective mo is i-explore yung mga play ni Shakespeare like yung Romeo and Juliet, okay? While incorporating activities that engage various types of intelligence. For example, ang topic mo is um, yung explore, yung play ni Shakespeare, which is yung, for example, yung, to be specific, Romeo and Juliet. Okay. Para sa mga linguistic learners mo, linguistic intelligent learners mo, pwede kang magpa-read ng mga excerpts from Romeo and Juliet, no, aloud in class, na mag-emphasize ng poetic language and dramatic dialogue. And you can also assign writing tasks such as essay, analyzing character motivations, no, theme or the use of language in the play. Okay? Kapag naman logical mathematical yung student mo, pwede ka magpa-analyze ng structure of the play, discussing plot development, no? Yung character arcs and even yung dramatic tensions, no? Pwede ka rin magpa-create ng timelines of key events in the play o kaya charts comparing the different adaptations of Romeo and Juliet. Kapag naman visual spatial ang iyong learner, pwede kang magpa-create sa mga learner na yan ng visual representation of scenes from the play using storyboards, sketches, or digital media, okay? Pwede ka rin magpa-design ng stage sets for specific scenes, no? Considering the visual spatial arrangements of character and props, okay? Kapag naman, para naman sa mga musical intelligent learners mo, pwede mo silang hayaang makinig sa excerpts of music inspired or related to Romeo and Juliet. Okay? Pwede ka rin magpa-analyze ng rhythm, melody, and emotion in the music to enhance yung kanilang understanding of the play's themes, di ba, and moods. Okay? Kapag naman bodily kinesthetic, yung mga learners mo, pwede kang magpa-act out ng scenes from Romeo and Juliet through dramatic readings or role-playing activities. Okay? Pag naman interpersonal, yung mga learners mo, pwede kang mag-facilitate ng group discussion or debates on moral dilemmas presented in the play such as loyalty, love, or even faith. Okay? Pag naman intrapersonal, pag may estudyante kang intrapersonal, pwede kang mag-encourage ng reflective journaling or personal responses doon sa themes and characters ng Romeo and Juliet. Okay? Pag naman naturalistic, pwede kang magpa-explore ng historical and cultural context of yung parang setting, no? Yung Shakespeare's England, including yung natural environment and societal norms, no? Pwede ka rin mag-discuss dito on how the natural world is portrayed in the play, particularly in imagery and symbolism. Okay? So, by incorporating these activities that appeal to the different intelligences, no, klase mga estudyante natin, they can engage more deeply with the topic, with the material, okay, and they may also develop a richer understanding of Romeo and Juliet in your English class. Okay? That is why, diba, sa mga group activity, iba-iba yung kinds of instruction na binibigay natin sa mga students natin. Kasi nga, para ma-cater natin and ma-welcome natin yung lahat ng intelligence ng mga learners natin within a particular class. Okay? Okay, para naman sa mga SS, no? Here's an example of how multiple intelligences can be integrated into your Araling Panlipunan subject, okay, that focuses on the Philippine setting. For example, ang objective mo is to explore the cultural diversity and historical context of the Philippines during pre-colonial period, okay? So, for example, sa mga linguistic intelligent learners mo, pwede ka mag-provide ng reading materials about the indigenous peoples of the Philippines before Spanish colonization, including their language, customs, and oral traditions. Kapag naman sa mga side ng logical mathematical students mo, magpa-analyze ka ng maps showing the distribution of different ethnic groups, for example, and kingdoms across Philippine archipelago before Spanish colonization, o kaya magpa-create ka ng timeline na mag-illustrate ng major events and developments in Philippine history before the arrival of the Spanish, okay? Sa mga visual spatial learners mo naman, pwede kang magpa-design ng maps or models of pre-colonial settlements considering factors such as geographical features, trade routes, and even yung mga cultural landmarks. Okay? Pag sa mga estudyante naman natin na musical intelligent, no? Musically intelligent, pwede tayong magpapakinig sa kanila ng mga examples of traditional Filipino musics and instruments that have roots in pre-colonial cultures. Okay? For example, yung mga yung kulintang or other indigenous chants. Okay? Then, kapag bodily kinesthetic, pwede kang hands-on activities such as traditional weaving, pottery making, or bamboo crafting, reflecting skills and crafts practiced by yung mga pre-colonial Filipino communities way back then. Pwede rin again role-playing, no? Hindi nawawala lagi yun, role-playing activities that simulate daily life in pre-colonial societies such as yung mga role ng fishermen, farmers, or tribal leaders, okay? Pag interpersonal naman yung iyong mga learners, no, pwede kang mag-facilitate ng group discussion on or debates on the social structures, governance, systems, and cultural practices of the pre-colonial societies, okay? Pag intrapersonal naman, again, magpa-reflective journaling ka or personal responses to primary sources and artifacts from pre-colonial Philippine history. Pag naturalistic naman, pwede kang magbigay ng study on the ecological diversity and natural resources of the Philippines before Spanish colonization, including yung rich biodiversity of forests, marine ecosystem, and agricultural landscapes. Okay? Pwede rin yung yung i-explore mo yung knowledge and practices related to agriculture, herbal medicine, and environmental conservation in pre-colonial Philippine societies. Okay? So, through incorporating yung mga activities na sinabi ko, okay, that appeal to different intelligences, yung mga learners natin, they can also develop deeper understanding and appreciation of cultural diversity and historical heritage of the Philippines. Okay, by using this multiple intelligences. Okay, next, para naman sa mga BE Ed students natin, so here is an example of how multiple intelligences can be integrated into elementary classroom. For example, ang subject natin or ang objective natin is Filipino folk tales, no? Sige, paano natin i-incorporate yung activities that engage various types of learning. For example, sa linguistic intelligence. Okay? Pwede kang magpa-read aloud ng mga Filipino folktales such as si Pagong at si Matching, no? Yung ang alamat ng Sampaguita, okay? Na pwedeng mag-emphasize ng language, dialogue, and storytelling elements. Pwede ka rin mag-assign ng writing task such as retelling the folk tales in their own words or creating original stories inspired by Filipino folklore. Okay? BEd, sa mga logical mathematical students naman natin, no, pwede tayo magpa-analyze ng structure of Filipino folk tales. Mag-discuss tayo ng mga common themes, motifs, and narrative patterns. Pwede rin tayo magpa-create ng story maps or graphic organizers to visually represent the plot, characters, and setting of the different folk tales. Okay? Sa mga students natin naman na visual spatial, no? Pwede tayong magpa-illustrate ng scenes from Filipino folktales through drawing or painting, focusing on key moments and settings in the stories. Pwede rin tayo magpa-design. Ito, usong-uso to sa mga elemental learners, magpa-design ng dioramas or puppet theaters, no, na magde-depict ng scene from the folktales na mag-aalaw sa mga students natin to engage with stories in a three-dimensional space. Okay? Sa mga learners naman natin na musically intelligent, no? Pwede tayong magpapakinig sa kanila ng traditional Filipino music and songs that accompany folktales such as Leron, Leron Sinta, o kaya Bahay, Kubo, something like that. Okay? Pwede rin tayong magpa-perform ng traditional Filipino dances or movement, no? Which is inspired by characters and themes from the folktales. Okay? Sa mga learners naman natin about the kinesthetic, no? Pwede tayong magpa-act out of folk tales through dramatic readings or, again, role-playing activities na mag-aalaw sa mga students natin na ma-embody nila yung characters at ma-bring up nila yung mga stories to life. Okay, pwede rin tayo magpa-create ng simple what do you call this? Simple theatrical props or costumes using recycled materials to enhance the storytelling experience. Okay? Sa mga students naman natin na interpersonally intelligent, no, mag-facilitate tayo ng group, again, discussion or storytelling circles where yung mga students natin, they can share their favorite Filipino folktales and then i-discuss nila yon yung mga lessons and yung mga morals na kino-convey. Okay? Pag naman intrapersonal, again, pwede tayong magpagawa ng reflective journaling or personal responses to themes and messages of Filipino folktales. Pwede rin tayong mag-provide ng opportunity sa mga students natin to express their creativity and imagination through artwork, through poetry or journal entries inspired by folk tales. Okay? Sa mga naturalistic, intelligent learners naman natin, pwede nating explore yung natural environment and landscape, no, na depicted in Filipino folk tales such as forests, mountains, and yung mga rural villages. Pwede rin tayo mag-discuss ng halimbawa ecological knowledge and traditional practices embedded in Filipino folklore na mag-highlight ng connection between nature and culture, as well as yung pagpapa-storytelling natin. Okay? So, these are some of the activities that may appeal again to the different intelligences as put forward by Howard Gardner. Okay? So, by using these activities or by incorporating these activities, yung mga pupils natin in the elementary, no, they can develop, again, a deeper understanding and appreciation of the subject matter, no, through exploration ng different or multiple intelligences. Okay? Okay, class. So, based on our discussion, may actually pang ilang questions na to. Meron dalawa kanina, no, na nasa comment box na dapat ang sagot ninyo. Pangatlong questions, no? So, after having our discussion, did you examine what learning styles do you have? No, may iba sa inyo, isa, dalawa, tatlo, apat, lima. May iba ka nga merong iba sa inyo, may siyam. Okay? As put forward by Howard Gardner. O kaya, you can choose kung sa learning style or sa intelligence ni Howard Gardner or dun sa mga learning style ni David Gold, kayo pipili. So, just examine yourself, no? Kung ano sa mga learning style or intelligence yon yung present sa inyo as of the moment. And then, try to answer also yung pang-apat na question ko, which is, ano ba yung importance of knowing our learning styles. Okay? So that's all for today, and I hope you can all comply with your activity because after this video, I will post a scheduled quiz sa ating Google Classroom. So thank you for your time, and I hope you were able to distinguish, no, yung learning style na meron kayo. And siguro, i-nurture pa natin para maging richer pa, no, yung learning style na meron tayo. Okay? Thank you so much and good night.